Good morning, guys. Today is September 3rd, and we're going to continue to talk about the atom. Yesterday, you had an activity where you had a PET simulation about how to build an atom and all that. So I'm going to go over a little bit of that in case you guys had any questions. So the first thing you have to do today is set up your notebook, and you can pause the video if you need to make sure you have time to do this correctly. You're going to write the date, the title, the essential question, and you're going to be ready for your notes. Again, at any time, you may pause this video if you need more time to write. Okay, so the parts of the atom are we have the electrons, we have the protons, and we have the neutrons. So symbol for electron, it's an E with a negative sign. Protons is a P with a positive sign. And neutrons is an N with a little zero exponent in the top. So the negative sign for electrons is telling you the charge. The positive sign for protons is telling that it has a positive charge. And then for neutrons, we put an exponent of 0 because it has a neutral charge. Now, where do we find those? So in the inside, right here, the inside circle, this is your nucleus, right? And the rings around it, those are the electron clouds. Some people also call them orbitals. Now, where do we find the protons? The protons are inside the nucleus, so you will find it inside the nucleus. And also the neutrons are inside the nucleus. Now, the electrons you would find orbiting around in the electron clouds. Okay, so where is all the mass? So when you see the periodic table, which when you come in person, or if you're an e-learner and want to pick up a copy, let me know and I'll have them ready for you in the front office. But you can also access periodic tables online. So this is a periodic table. In the bottom, right here, you have the mass. Where does all that mass come from? Well, the mass of the atom comes from the sum of the protons and neutrons. Now, the size of the atom comes from the electron clouds. Okay, so what does it look like? How do we know how many neutrons, how many protons, and how an electron does an atom have? So this is how you will be able to tell. So I'm going to go back. I'm going to show you this one, and then I'll go back to the next one. So the number in the top is the atomic number. For a neutral atom, that will tell you the number of electrons and the number of protons. The O right there is the symbol, which in this case, this is oxygen. Oxygen has a symbol of a letter O. And then the atomic mass you find in the bottom, oxygen has an atomic mass of 16. Now let's go back to our previous example, which is lithium. I'm going to look at my periodic table, and I see that lithium's atomic number is 3, and it has a mass of 6.941. You can round that to 7 when we're doing the math. Okay, how do we know how many neutrons, protons, and electrons an atom have? So we said earlier in the previous slide that the atomic number equals the protons and the electrons. This is if it's a neutral atom. Now, we know from before that the atomic mass, which is this one right here, atomic mass equals protons plus electrons. Sorry, not electrons, plus neutrons. Now, if we know the mass and we know the protons, can we find neutrons? Yes, of course you can. So neutrons is going to equal atomic mass minus the protons. So we know that the mass is 6.941, so I'm going to round that to 7. And we know that the protons are 3. So 7 minus 3 will give me 4 neutrons. So even though in the periodic table it doesn't tell you specifically the neutrons, with the information given to you with the atomic mass and the protons, you can calculate how many neutrons. Okay. So every hydrogen atom has how many protons? So you're going to have to look at the periodic table and look at hydrogen. Hydrogen has an atomic number of 1. So every hydrogen atom has 1 proton. Now every magnesium atom has, we're going to go to the periodic table, we find magnesium, and magnesium has an atomic number of 12. So every magnesium atom has 12 protons. Now, this one's different. Any atom with 23 protons is, so I have to look at my periodic table and find which element has atomic number of 23. So if you look at the periodic table, it's organized by atomic number, right? So you're going to have to go down all the rows and find 23. 23 is vanadium. So I'm just going to write, well, I'll write the whole thing. Vanadium, the symbol is letter V. Now, any atom with 92 protons is, so 92, it's pretty far down. It's right here in the bottom, uranium. So I'm going to write uranium. The symbol is letter U. Guys, I know you're watching this in the video and I'm telling you, guiding you on how to do it, but I need you to practice. So make sure you have a periodic table open. I'm going to include a link of a periodic table in the classwork for today, so you can have that and practice as well on how to do this. Yeah, we already talked about this. So atoms are always neutral. Atoms that are neutral will have the same number as protons as electrons. Okay, we know that the mass of the atom comes from the number of protons and neutrons. What is the mathematical formula for finding the atomic mass of an element? Well, we said that atomic mass equals protons plus the neutrons. If you want to find the neutrons, with that same equation, you have to move the unknown variable. You're going to do atomic mass minus the protons. So I already did an example with you, so I'm going to let you guys do the next one. How many protons are there in bromine and how many neutrons are there in bromine? Pause this video and go ahead and solve. Okay, the next step for understanding is how many protons, neutrons, and electrons does an atom of oxygen have? So I go to my periodic table, I find oxygen, right? Oxygen has an atomic number of 8. And the mass is 15.999, so I'm going to round that to 16. So I need to say, well, I know that the atomic number tells me the proton, and it has an atomic number of 8 right here. So I'm going to write the protons equal 8, right? For neutrons, I just wrote in the previous slide that the equation to find neutrons would be atomic mass, so 16 minus 8. So 16 minus 8, so I have a total of 8 neutrons. Now for electrons, I just have to look, because it's a neutral atom, I just have to look at the atomic number, so I know that I have 8 electrons. Now you guys do this next check for understanding on your own. So carbon has an atomic number of 6 and a mass of 12. So you guys are going to tell me how many protons, how many neutrons, and how many electrons. Pause the video. Okay, so we're done with the notes. Now you're going to have to go back to the canvas and click on the activity. You're going to download a Word document. And you're going to be using color pencils to draw, well, not color pencils for real, unless you have a printer at home. But in Microsoft Word, you can click on the draw, and then it'll have different pens. You can add colors if you need to. If you have questions on how to do that, again, you can always email me or join Teams while we have class, so I can show you how to do it. Okay, so you are going to, using color pencils, draw the correct number of protons, neutrons, and electrons in their proper place, and the atom below. Then fill in the table below with the correct number of each subatomic particle. Use the following colors to represent each subatomic particle. So you're going to do protons in red, neutrons blue, and electrons in green. Okay, so I'm going to actually try open the Word document to show you. Okay, so let me go back to Canvas. Here's the activity that you're going to click on. Like always, you're going to download it, and you're going to save it when it opens up to your chemistry folder. Okay, so now that we're in Word, I'm going to do the first one with you. I'm going to go up here where it says draw. I've already added all my colors, but if you need to add a color, you can always click here and add pen. And here's all the colors you can add. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to read the directions. I am going to, I'm doing beryllium, so I'm going to go to the periodic table. I'm going to find beryllium. Beryllium has an atomic number of 4. So I'm going to write here, beryllium has an atomic number of 4 and a mass of 9. Then I'm going to scroll down and I'm going to complete my table before I do anything else. Atomic symbol for beryllium is B, E, and just like I'm writing, you can write as well in your Word document. Protons, I said the atomic number was 4, so I have 4 protons, and if my atomic number is 4, I also know that I have 4 electrons. Now to find the atomic mass, I also look at the periodic table, and we wrote here that the atomic mass is 9. So atomic mass 9. Now I need to calculate the neutrons, but I know that neutrons equals atomic mass minus protons, so 9 minus 4. 9 minus 4, I have 5 neutrons. So now that I've completed the table, I can go ahead and draw different things in the subatomic particle diagram. So protons are going to be in red, so I'm going to select my red pen. How many protons do we say we have? Back to the table, 4. So inside the nucleus, I'm going to do, let's 4 protons. So I'm going to do P with a positive charge, 3, 4. Then the next thing I have to do is the neutrons. So I have 5 neutrons, and neutrons are going to be blue. So I've done my 5 neutrons. Now I need to do the electrons. Electrons are green. How many electrons did we say we have? Back to the table, 4 electrons. So here's the part that you need to know. So in the first ring, the first orbital, you can only put 2 electrons. So I'm gonna do 1, 2. Now that orbital is full. So I need to move on to the next one that can hold up to 8. And I needed a total of 4, so I just need 2 more. Okay, so if you fill up the second one with the 8, you just move to the next one. So the first one, the first orbital can hold, the first one can hold up to 2, the second one can hold up to 8. So if you have more than 10, you gotta move to the third orbital, and so on. So then I'm done with the first diagram, and I'll move on to the next one. Okay, guys, if you have any questions, let me know. I hope this video is helpful. So when you're done with this activity, you can go and do the DLO.